Oh, mate, I feel so fucked. My lifts in the gym, they've like fucking halved. But I've got a Domino's this weekend. Coach said I could have it, but cookies are going in, and you know I'm gonna have a little bit more on my side with that. Mate, you look pretty fucked. When was your last refeed? Nah, coach said that refeed shit's full of nonsense. He said just to embrace the suck and just get on with it and trust the process. So you betcha these abs are gonna be coming in. Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah. So if you've been aggressively dieting since January 1st, you're probably in camp 1 or camp 2. Let's look at camp 1. You probably haven't got the results you wanted so far. Now, let's look at that. It's probably because you haven't calibrated your food, you haven't taken into account unprescribed food, your expenditure hasn't been hit, and you probably aren't hitting the metrics you need to hit worthwhile fat loss results. But we'll talk about that in another video. I want to talk about camp 2. You've actually fucking nailed it so far. Hit your desired rate of weight loss, and you're actually on very good trajectory to hit your desired body composition. However, we know the longer you are on a diet, the more fatigue will start to creep in. So let's talk about some variables which you need to consider. First of all, let's look at the physiological side effects. The main one being your training performance is going to shit, and that is a recipe for losing all your muscle. Other variables to take into consideration are stuff like psychological variables, diet fatigue, hunger. So one thing I do time and time again with a lot of my clients, when you start to see these physiological and psychological effects coming into play, is going to be a refeed. Now, a refeed can address both of these physiological and psychological symptoms. A refeed usually consists of 1, 2, or maybe a few days of higher food, and personally myself as a coach, I like to pair it with a little bit of reduced expenditure. This is going to fill up the client's glycogen stores, which from a physiological perspective is going to allow them to train better in the subsequent session and also get a pretty fucking gnarly pump. And then from a psychological level, it can reduce diet fatigue and increase satiation and almost act as like a little bit of a reset before we go into the next phase of fat loss. For example, here's my client Josh. Last year, when we ran him a refeed during his diet, his weight spiked by 1.5 kilos. And no, that is not a bad thing. This increase in scale weight was a result of glycogen stores being replenished. This is because we know that glycogen is saturated in water. As a rough ballpark figure, every 100 grams of glycogen you hold, you're going to put on roughly 400 to 500 ml of water with that. Now, having this refeed allowed us to push further into fat loss with more longevity and also more sustainability, providing this pretty fucking epic result as you can see here. So don't be afraid of your refeeds. And if you need help with your diet phase, just drop me a message. I'm happy to jump on a call and we can talk about the systems we can put in place for you.